Gentleman's Game here. So this is going to be the second installment of the Watch What She Does, Not What She Says series. If you haven't checked out the first episode, make sure to do that to get a gist of what the series is about. But basically, I'll be explaining confusing scenarios when a girl's actions don't match her words, something called cognitive dissonance. Today's going to start with a story that happened to me not too long ago. It was a very interesting experience that taught me a lot about how girls think. But let me back up for a minute on how I first met this girl. I was on my way to meet a friend when I see a girl crossing the street. She immediately caught my eye. I liked her style and thought she had a super cute face. So, I start walking up next to her. She sees me looking at her and takes the AirPods out of her ears. "Hey, I like those pants. Where'd you get them?" I ask. She smiles, and then we spend the next few minutes introducing ourselves. I find out she's in law school and just came from shopping at a bookstore. "So what are you up to right now?" I ask her. "Nothing much actually, I was just walking around," she replies. "What about you?" I tell her I was on my way to meet a friend, but that I was gonna get coffee on the way. "Wanna grab a cup with me?" "Sure," she responds. So I bring her to a coffee shop and we get our drinks and sit down. This is where I really start getting to know her. She starts opening up about her family life, her favorite music, even about her struggles with depression when she was younger. To be honest, I was immediately kinda smitten with this girl. Not only was she super attractive, but she seemed to have this mysterious edge to her, and I could also tell that she had a genuinely good heart underneath that cool exterior. Plus, we even liked the same type of music. I was already imagining taking her to a music festival, holding her hand in the middle of the crowd. She starts asking me questions, to which I give her pretty brief answers. By the way guys, here's a quick tip. When you just meet a girl and she asks you a lot of questions, try to keep your answers a bit short, almost vague. It'll make her that much more curious about you. Anyways, we finish our coffee and my friend is about to come, so I tell her that we should hang out sometime. She blushes, smiles, and gives me her Instagram. Then we hug each other goodbye. I had a really good feeling about this girl. I messaged her shortly afterwards, and after a bit of flirty texting, I set up a date for the following Saturday, which she says yes to. So Saturday comes around, and when we meet, I was blown away with how cute she was. Wow, I already know this is gonna be fun, I think to myself. I take her to a bookstore where we browse the spirituality section and she teaches me about how tarot cards work. "Wow, you're like a witch," I joke to her. Then we grab food at one of my favorite casual eating spots and walk around a big outdoor park to catch the sunset. All the while, I'm just getting her to talk more about herself, making sure to be a good listener and chiming in with a few jokes here and there to get her to laugh and feel comfortable. I could tell she was having fun. She was smiling a lot, laughing, and every time I leaned into her slightly, she instinctively leaned in as well. I could tell she wasn't the type of girl to kiss on the first date, so I just playfully grab her hand and start holding it. She laughs and goes along with it. When it starts getting late, she says she has to go, so I walk her to her train station and then make plans for our next date, which she again smiles at and agrees to. On my way home, she texts me, "Hey, just got home. I just wanted to tell you how much fun I had tonight. Thanks for showing me that sandwich place. It was an awesome vibe. I hope you get home safe." I remember I smiled reading that. Now, here's where things start to get weird. A few days later, I see on her Instagram story that she was having a bad day, so I make a little joke to try and get her to cheer up. "Stop that," she responds. I figured she wasn't having any of it, so I ask how she's feeling. "Don't ask me that. I'm not a damsel in distress. Don't treat me like I can't help myself," she responds. She seemed to be really combative, so I just let her know that if she ever needed anything, that I'd be here. "You know, I don't need you taking care of me. And by the way, I noticed when we hung out the other day how you were being pretty flirty. God, I'm so sick and tired of guys that pretend to be my friend but have ulterior motives. Screw off." And this is where I was left super confused. Why was she all of a sudden having problems with me being flirty with her during our date, while during the date I knew for a fact she was laughing and having fun, despite my flirting? I mean, she literally let me hold her hand, and even texted me that night telling me how much fun she had. This makes no sense at all, I thought to myself. But then I thought about it some more, and it started to become clear. If you've ever had a girlfriend before, you've probably had a similar experience. Maybe you took her out on a date where you know for a fact she was having a great time. She's kissing you, cuddling you, saying "I love you," and then next week you guys get into an argument and she says something like, "Oh yeah, and last week you really pissed me off too during our date." Makes no sense at all, right? Well, this form of cognitive dissonance is actually something that I call an emotional memory reframe. You see, when people, especially women, are in a strong emotional state, like anger, sadness, or joy, it actually affects the way they perceive their memories. And this is especially true when girls feel a strong emotion toward a specific person. So if she's super angry at you for something, it might totally change the way she feels about past memories with you, for the worse. On the other hand, if she's super happy with you, it might make her remember past events she spent with you in a positive light. Going back to my example, she was already in a bad mood, so making that joke over text probably wasn't the best thing to do, because even though I meant no harm by it, she probably took it the wrong way, and once I started engaging her, it just made her more mad, and triggered her emotional memory reframe to remember our awesome date in a bad way. Let me get this straight, I'm not saying that her behavior was justified in this situation. Seeing her not be able to handle her emotions maturely was immediately a red flag, and it should also be a red flag for you for girls you just met. But on the other hand, remember not to hold it against women who go through emotional memory reframe. It's more common than you think, and it's usually not done maliciously. It's just the way some people are. And obviously, this isn't something that applies to all women, but when it does happen, it's important to be able to recognize it so you can respond appropriately. For example, if you're in a relationship and one day your girl experiences emotional memory reframe and lashes out at you, just see it for what it is, and instead of letting it frustrate you, just look to change her emotional state. So that's it for today. I wanted to do this video to give insight on how to deal with people when they act irrational, and to also show you guys that no one, including myself, is perfect in understanding women. We can all learn more at the end of the day, so always keep that growth mentality. Next week, I'm going to address one of the most common questions I receive about getting dates, so make sure to like and subscribe, and as always, peace.